We do have a short sort of slideshow to go through. So I will go through that and then I'll get more into the live demo part of it. If you do have any questions at any time, please use the chat. I'm sure everyone's sort of getting pretty familiar with Zoom now from the last couple of years. So do feel free to use the chat to put any questions in there. I'm quite happy for you to put questions in as I go. I know that if you do ask a question, I'm probably just about to show it. I will review the chat at the end. I probably won't review it too much as I go, but quite happy to come back to stuff if we need to. Just a little bit about Cloud A2K. So we're a company which fosters innovation through delivering software and hardware solutions. We do consulting, training, development, and managed services. Our highly knowledgeable and industry experienced staff from the AEC, infrastructure and manufacturing sectors enhances our customers' organizational capabilities to deliver your project outcomes and differentiate from the competition. We do like to pride ourselves on that. We do have industry experienced staff. A little bit about myself. I do have a structural engineering associate diploma. I've been in industry for over 25 years. I worked at a lot of sort of tier 1, mid-tier and smaller consultancies. I did my apprenticeship and then I went out contracting, went out to a lot of different companies and did stints there. I've worked at sort of Arup, Worley, Northrop, SMEC, Henry and Hymas, a few other companies as well. I've had a lot of experience in everything from like small portal frames up to the sort of latest few projects I was on the Metro Martin Place, which was quite a large project in the heart of Sydney. It's like a 40-story tower where I was one of the lead modelers on that. I have been using Bluebeam since about 2014, Revit and Navisworks, etc., from about sort of 2010-ish. I am on LinkedIn if you do want to have a look at my profile. And yeah, that's about me. Certified Bluebeam trainer, certified Autodesk Revit professional, and I do a lot of presentations through the industry. Bluebeam, it's got over 40 billion Studio transactions now. So I will touch on Studio just at the end. I am going to use a tool set for this, and I will construct the tool set as well, and I will make that available in the to everyone. I will put in the chat now. I will actually put the invite in there. There's nothing in there yet, but the invite is in the chat. You can access that through the Studio if you are familiar with it. I will show it as well. I'll just paste that again. I did paste it just to the hosts instead of everyone. So I will put that link in there. It's in the chat now. Be aware it's on the Australian server. So there are a few different Bluebeam servers. Again, if you're not familiar with Studio sessions and the like, I will explain it a bit later, but feel free to access that site. That's where I'm going to put up the tool set. We've got to be well over 2 million users now. I actually think this slide's a little bit dated, so I think that's well over 2 million now. It is the tool of choice now in the construction industry. It's becoming, it's made specifically for the construction industry, and people are really starting to come across to how useful it is. This is the user interface. Again, I'm not really going to do too much of a point and click demonstration. We've got the toolbars. You can customize all this as well. Your menu bar at the top, properties toolbar, the markups list down the bottom, which tracks every markup you do. So everything you do in Bluebeam is constantly being tracked. And we've got panel access where we can access Studio and the like as well. The power of the PDF. So it provides project efficiency and collaboration solutions built specifically for the construction industry. It will allow you to increase your revenue, reduce your costs, and minimize your risks, essentially by having one source of truth. So it's going to like that paperless office and having one source of all that data. Contains all the metadata. You can put hyperlinks in there, bookmarks, file attachments, images, even spaces, and it does read the 3D data, so you can make 3D PDFs and the like as well. and it will harness all the metadata. So if you export like a 3D PDF from Revit, will contain the element ID, the family, the member it is, etc. So it contains all that information. Now we're just going to get into it. So I will get rid of the PowerPoint and I'll just jump into, I'm currently in that studio project. So that is the studio project. I know that some of you aren't familiar with that. I will explain it a bit later. It does have some settings in here and I can invite people as well. I have made it so that it's a free, it's basically, I haven't restricted the user access. So the user access is unrestricted. So anyone can actually join this and I don't have to invite you via email. So you can use that link and you'll get access. It is only read-only access. And at the moment, I don't have anything in there apart from an empty folder, but I will put something in there by the end of the session. Yes, so I'm going to get into it. So we're just going to start like just a normal project here. So this is like where someone's printed out a bunch of drawings from CAD or whatever. And I've got the PDFs here. So I've got 5 PDFs. I'm just going to open all of those as an individual file. Now I can right click and combine them as well through the stapler. But I am going to open them individually or open them together, but it will open them separately in Revu. So we can see at the top, I've got a different tab for each one. Now I'm just going to go to the thumbnails here in the panel access. And you can see here, each one has its own drawing. So they're all separate at the moment. So I can simply come under the file and combine all these documents, add my open files, which will add them all in. I can sort them and I can also like use the file name as the page label. So I might do that as well, just to show how that works. You can see here at the moment, it does just have the label of 1. I can sort these. So I can sort these by name. You'll see how they go in the name order. Just to show how quick and easy it is to amend that as well, I'm just going to move the title sheet here. I'll move that down to the bottom and then just hit OK. So I've now got document 1 and you can see in the thumbnails that it contains those 5 documents. I can then just shut these. So I'm just going to shut those separate individual ones and this is my combined document. You can see how it's grabbed the file name as the page label. We can edit that page label as well. So by going to the settings here, so I'm in the thumbnails panel, I can go to the settings here. I can set this by page region. So I can go to my page region and select, zoom in, and I'll just get a border just around that drawing number there. Always a good idea to just make sure it's big enough to get it if it went to like A1000, but small enough so that it's not getting any of the revision items and that in there. I can see a little review here. It's going to get A02. And if I hit OK, you'll now see all these just change to the drawing number rather than the 001. Again, I can apply that to all pages, 1 pages, or a current range or a custom range if I chose to. So you'll see how now that's all adjusted. I can simply, this is the cover sheet here, the A01. I can simply drag that up. You'll see it puts a little blue underscore where it's going to sit. And I can simply drag and drop that in my panel and it will put them in the correct order. There's a slider at the bottom here where I can change the size. I go from something very small if it was a massive set through to a bit more, bit bigger, so that you can really look at what's going to be on those drawings. So you've just got that little slider at the bottom there. But we're on about markups today. So this is really about getting that paperless office, and this way you can have that digital one source of truth. I'm sure we've all worked in drawing offices before where you might have 20 different markups. They're all stapled, some are highlighted, some aren't, etc. Some people have made the markup on the very first page and then they're making it again on the 20th page. So it can get a bit of a mess where Bluebeam can be the solution to all those issues. So I do have a tool chest that I made before. I will show you how to make it and add to it, etc. I do have like a check-in procedure, which is almost like your typical drawing procedure that we've had before. So I can drop that in. We can see that it's massive and I need to change the size. So I can just activate these grips and drag that down to be a more appropriate size. So this is like your normal sort of drafting office procedure. And that's the procedure here. So we've sort of got, you know, the formal checking process, and it shall be followed in accordance with your QA. You know, it's like this is more like for a paper office where the paper copies shall be passed to the engineer, etc. So it's got where they use red for the markup, no liquid paper, general observation on notes are in blue, and the drawing has to be passed back to the draftee. And then they've got to mark off red comments with yellow highlighter. Then it's got to be back checked and then go back to the project engineer. So we can replicate those procedures in basically a normal sort of markup situation. So the one that I like to use a lot, and just to explain again for some of those people that aren't in Revu a lot, so you can see that under the tools and markup, everything does have a corresponding icon and a corresponding hotkey. So these are what you can use in toolbars. You will see a lot of these items are repeated over here in my toolbar. Again, you can really customize this and get the items in that you want to. I'm not really going into that today, but you can customize all your toolbars as well. So I'm just going to use a combination of these. So the one that I really like to use, so we've got just the normal call out or a text box. So now in Revu 20, it's quite easy to add those leaders to a text box. So if I do a text box and just put a box here, I can then put, you know, please make this 3 meters. And that's my text box there. Now it all has a text box there, and you'll see there's properties. This is the properties bar here. You can also access the properties through the little cog on the left, or you can also right click and go to properties. One of the good sort of mantras to have with Bluebeam is if in doubt, right click it out, and right clicking will generally give you all the options. So you can access the properties, which will open the panel here, and we can change the font size, etc. Put a box around it as well by just adding some line weight, and I can do that at the top here. Sometimes I like to put a bit of fill in it as well. I find it sort of pops a little bit better. So if you do that and do it at like sort of 20%, you get a nice sort of red shade in there. So that can be like a correction that we've got in from our engineer. Again, I can add a leader. So again, just by right clicking, and you can see add leader, and I can add that and point directly to it. Another one I like to use sort of in preference to just the call out. So this is now a call out because I've added that leader to it. If I do delete that leader, it will turn that back to a text box. So that's really the difference between a call out and a text box is just the leader. The other one I like to really use is a cloud plus. So that's where it's a cloud plus the call out. It also has a hot shortcut key of K. And again, that's under our tools and markup, and you'll see cloud plus here as well. So I can do a cloud plus over this area. And you'll see that it automatically gives me the call out. You'll see that the properties bar, it's sort of a lot longer, and it can actually like be slid across. So there's a lot of settings for this. Now I might want to just have a suggestion in here that always run out of things to say on this. So do we need to specify type of plants or trees or shrubs, whatever you want to put in? So that's more something that's not really a markup as such. I don't really want it on the drawing. I just want it as sort of part of that suggestion. So I'm going to do that in blue. So I'm going to change it to blue cloud. I'll put a blue fill on it as well. Again, making that about 20%, which sort of, just tones it down a little bit so we can see through it and it doesn't obliterate everything. Change my leader line as well, so we can see here that leader line. I want to have that blue as well. And also my font, make sure that I have that font as blue. And you can see how that's all going through. Now, so that's the way I normally set up the markups. Now you can use highlighters as well. So you can have someone come through and then highlight this off. So if they've changed that in their CAD package or whatever, they can come through and use their highlighter, use a yellow highlighter and just highlight that off as done. You can set the statuses and of these points as well. So if we're going through it, so if I want to reply back to it, I can set this status as well. So I've got in here that, just almost using it a bit of an old school markup that we've just highlighted that off as done, but we can use the metadata a bit more. So like I said, everything we do is always being tracked. So if I get access the markups list down the bottom here, you'll see that I can, everything I've done, so that from that check-in procedure, and as well, it will always take me to what I've done. So even if I'm here and I click on that Cloud Plus, you'll see it will take me straight to it. The same as this text box, it'll take me straight to it as well. So we can also set the status, and this is where you're sort of getting that one source of truth and really the metadata, which is the strong point of Bluebeam. So you'll see in here that it's actually got the date and time that I did that original markup. It's actually got an author to it, which is myself. So that way you can see who's made this. Was it Jim, or was it the client, or was it the architect, etc. So you can see who's making that change. We can also set the status of it. So I can right click on this and go to set status. And I can put that in that's been completed. You can customize these statuses as well, but these are like the standard out of the box one. So I'm just going to mark that as completed. And you'll see here that it's tracking that, yes, it's been completed. And that was set by myself again on this date and at that time. So it's really getting tracked. It's great for project handover as well. So when a project's finished, you can store this away. You'll have it stored forever, and you can see who's approved each comment, if something was client approved or it wasn't client approved, etc. With something like this, again, I can highlight it here. You'll see how it's highlighted straight away in the markups list. I can reply back as well. So instead of actually setting the status of this and setting it as accepted, rejected, or whatever, I can actually reply to this and say, yes, we do. Waiting advice from shrubber, or what do they call them? Yep. Tree man, arborist, or whatever. Yep. Horticulturalist. So yeah, I've got that reply in there. You'll see that reply is being tracked as well. So again, it's got when that reply was put in and who actually replied. You can see it will put a little like return arrow to sort of note to you that it has got that reply attached to it. Now, you sort of what you want to do is make these like a standard markup for your company. So you sort of, I did that cloud before. If I went to do that again, so I'd have to come in and do another cloud, put that over this area, put the note here. Please provide layout for kitchen. And you can see that then I need to go back and I need to grab the line again and change that to blue. I need to put the hatch on or the fill in, etc. There is a way, there is Format Painter, similar to like a lot of the Microsoft projects, in that I can actually right click and actually format paint and format that markup to this one. And you'll see how we'll grab those settings. So that's quite a quick way to almost do that match properties. But sometimes that can be a bit difficult, and people, you know what I mean, they want a different markup, etc. So this is where the tool sets start to come into it. Now, I do already have an existing one here. I will put that into I'll show how to export that as well, but I can also make a new one quite quickly as well. So I'm just going to make a new one just for today. So I'm going to come down. I do have a lot of ones in here that I haven't sort of used for a while. So it's probably a bit heavier than a lot of your ones would be. I'm going to go down to manage tool sets. So that's just by using the little arrow here, clicking on that, and I can go to manage and I can add a new one. So I can create a new one. I'm just going to call this markup. I'll just put delete at the end of it, just so I know to delete this later. I do want to display this. I can show in all profiles as well, so that you can set up different profiles and personas. I have done another webinar on how to set up profiles and use different profiles. That will change the toolbox and the appearance, etc. So you generally have one for like your drafting staff or one for your engineers. They'd just be slightly different. I'm not going to go into that now. So I'm just going to hit OK. It'll ask me for a save point. I'm just going to save that on my roaming data. And it always puts it at the bottom. So again, I can select it here and move that all the way up to the top, just so it makes it a bit easier for us to see. So here's my blank tool set ready to go. Now to add, there's 3 different ways to add things into the tool set. I can select it. And like I said before, if in doubt, right click it out, and I can right click and I can go down and add to tool chest and add it to my markup delete. And you'll see it will go in here. I can also select it and go to the properties and come in here, and down the bottom again, I will see add to tool chest and add that to my markup delete again. So I'll see that one goes in there. The other way to do it, like everything you do is being tracked as well. So you can see it will have a recent tools here. So you can see everything I've done from like the yellow highlight, from the checking procedure stamp, etc. So I can simply drag these across as well. So I can select this one and drag it across into here, and you'll see how it puts it in as well. So there's a few different ways to do it. I always just use the right click, but tomato, there are many different ways to do it. Now, this is currently in what we call like a drawings mode or like a stamp mode. So if I use anything from here, it's going to give me exactly what I had. So if I use this Cloud Plus, you'll see it's exactly the same shape, exactly the same note, etc. Some people don't mind this. It's quite easy to grab that and just to readjust the corners. Again, I can hold shift and you'll see how it will give me a straight line as well. So I can really, if I want to be a bit pedantic with it, like all drafties are, I can hold shift and you'll see how it's really straightening that up sort of perfectly. So I can shift there and then shift again, and you'll see how it lines up directly. And then I can just change the note as well. So I could come in here and say, just please change to first floor. Again, you'll always see these little grips where you can sort of resize stuff as well. So you can do that, but generally a lot of people just want the properties of it and they don't really want to get exactly that note out. So for this red one, for instance, again, like I said, if I grab it straight from there, it's pretty much like the stamp. But what I can do is change the properties of this. So I can go from what we call a paint format to a properties format. So you'll see if I change that or go from properties mode here, sorry, you'll see how that changes the icon. I can also do that by double clicking. If I double click, you'll see that it changes as well. And the same for that, you'll see at the moment, if I drag it, it's just that same highlight at that. Where if I double click, it'll just change it to a highlight symbol. This is in an icons mode as well at the moment. So I sort of like to have it where it's actually you're getting a bit more properties and sort of what it actually is. So you can change the settings here. and change that as well to a detail mode. So just by clicking on that, you can change to detail, and that will actually call up what it is. It's a good idea sometimes for these ones. So this is now in a properties mode. So if I grab that red box, I could drag it over to here and put that there, and you'll just see how it's a totally new note. It doesn't have anything from before. I can even change the leader, etc., and change to timber stairs. One of the good things as well is if you do want this to be something that you want on the drawing. So you can see here at the moment, the comments, it's like, please make, so it's always a good idea, I think, to sort of just copy one of these over and just have this maybe like change to be made. And then if I add that in, it'll actually change that comment to be what it should be. So if I add that to chest again, you'll see it here and an actual change to be made. And I can delete that one now off the markup itself and have that one there. And again, double click on this icon to change it to like that properties mode and end up actually deleting this one. So just by right clicking in here and deleting it. Similar with the cloud one. And put that on and then just put like comment for discussion. Again, just select it, right click, add to tool chest in here, and you'll see that's a comment now for discussion. Just delete this one out again, just by right clicking and deleting. So now I've sort of got a symbol in here. Now this tools chest, and I'm going to see show how we can export that and how you can import that and have everyone in the company using those state. And that's where it really helps to standardize, and it will help your company just have that system where no one needs to ask, oh, what change needs to be made? I can see that straight away. So I'm going to just add that now. So what I can do is I'm actually going to do that export for another one. So I'm going to come down to this one, which I am going to share out. So it's got the check procedure. It's got a markup and query as well. So I've got a few clouds and I've put all the comments in there. So you've got like your first pass, third pass, second pass, etc. You can move these as well. So I could obviously drag that down to the number 2. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's sort of the normal procedure it goes through. So the draft, you'll mark it off as completed. I'll check that back check. So again, just sort of doing that similar thing. So I've put the comment in. The drafty will then come and select that green highlight, which is similar to the highlight I put in here before. So I'll just use that green highlight to highlight that off. Again, if I do want to get a straight highlight, you can just hold shift as well. If you do hold shift, it'll keep that line nice and straight. And then you can have your engineer or back checker come back and put the orange dot on that. Yes, I've checked that the change has been made. You could have the third pass done as well by like the drafting manager. And then you can also have your peer review, like your other engineer that comes through at the end just before it goes out to the client and puts his purple dot on to say that, yes, it's been peer reviewed and it's good to go. So it's all gone through and all those settings and all that's being tracked through here. So you can see what's happened through the whole way. You can filter this list as well. So you can see at the moment, it's basically got each of the subjects here for what item it was. I can filter this list. So by filtering that, I can filter by the subject and I can have just show me everything that's been peer reviewed. Has everything in the project been peer reviewed? You'll see, depending on your filter settings, like my filter settings, it actually grays out everything else. So I can shut the markup list and you'll see that everything else is grayed out and it's just really highlighted what's been peer reviewed. So it's a good process to sort of go through and just really isolate those elements. So I'm going to export this one now. So I'm just going to go here and export that list. I do need to save it. So yes, I will save it. And I'll just export that to my desktop and save. And that's now been done. Like I said, I will put it in that chat window just before the end, and that tool set will be there. I'm going to turn my filter off, and we've got everything back. Now, just say, for instance, we've received a new bunch of drawings now from the architect that we have to make markups to again. I don't want to lose these markups. I just want to put these on the next one. So what I can do is I can replace the page. Now, there is a batch where you can do a batch slip sheet. That is an extreme feature. Depending on what version of Bluebeam you do have, there are the 3 versions. There is standard, CAD, and extreme. The way to find out which version you have is you can go under the review and go on about, and it will tell you what version you have. So mine is the extreme version. So that's the batch. I won't show batch slip sheet now. That's where you can automate this process, but I am just going to replace this page here. I might actually show slip sheet if I have a moment. So I'm going to go to, again, the best place to do this is really in your thumbnails. So I can go to thumbnails, select my drawing, right click, and I can replace the page. So I can replace the page, go to my computer, go to my architectural drawings, just go to the next revision here. So I've got AO2 revision 2 and hit open. And it's going to just replace the page content. So it's removing page 2 of my 5, which is the AO2, and replacing it with page 1 of 1. And okay. And you'll see, I do believe the grid 2 has changed. So you'll see that that new drawing comes in. So you can see the change, and it's actually copied. Well, it's just replaced that underlying page. So the markups are still there. It still contains everything, and it's just brought that new one in. I will show batch slip sheet quickly. So this is where we can bulk do that process. You can do this on like 100-page set, etc. So if I go to my batch, and I can do a batch slip sheet, add my current file, and I'm actually going to add a folder. So you can add files or folders and subfolders. I am actually going to add a folder. Go back to my computer. I do have like the next state of drawings. So I'm just going to add that folder and select. You can see already it's picked out the drawing. I'm going to match by page region, and I can select it. So I could match by file name, page index, etc. I find page regions is probably the most reliable. You can use page label, but it depends if you've set up the page label in the different ones, etc. As I showed before. So I'm just going to do it by page region and select that. And similar to how I did the page label before, I can select, go down to the page region and select that drawing number and see the preview AO2 and hit OK. I could have done this on AO1, whatever. And now it's matched those drawings and match the pages. I will get a couple of options here. So from that document 1, which is the document I'm in, it's grabbed that AO2 page 2 of 5, and it's actually matched that with the AO2-3, which is page 1 of 1. I'm going to insert the revised pages before the current page. I can replace the page as well. I'm actually going to keep the old one. It's probably a good idea to really replace the page if I'm using this as the current markup set. Again, you can see that I can copy those markups across. So I would actually replace the page. I'm going to insert it before just to show what it does as well, because it's going to stamp that current page superseded. And I can hit OK. I can produce a report. I'm not going to do that. And we can see that it's now, I've got A023. It's copied all the markups across. I do have the cloud, like the new revision where I think they've moved the robe around or something. And it's now revision 3, and it's kept all those comments from the previous one. And it's actually put the old version here. So it's put an old version here and put a big superseded stamp on it automatically. And still kept all that data there. So that's a great way to be able to, you can, with the batch, it is an extreme feature, but it's a great way to have those sort of, if you're doing it for 100 drawings, you can just instantly do it. And it's a good way to always have that one sort of source of truth. Now, I'm just going to put this up quickly into a studio session. So this isn't really about studio sessions. It's more about that markup procedure and how to use that to have your sort of paperless design office. Now, if you do set it up in a session is basically a cloud version of it. So we'll put the drawing up in the cloud. It'll allow many people to access it at once. So it's a great way to have everyone contributing to the one item. Now, the best practice is to set all the stuff up like scales, etc. So I'll just set up the scales quickly on one drawing. We're not really focused on takeoffs and measurements on that in this session, but I will go to this one, for instance, drawing 5 or drawing 4, sorry. We can see that it's got 2 different scales. So it's got a 1 to 100, and it's also got a 1 to 20 detail here. So I'm just going to set up 2 different viewports. So if we did want to do measurements, it'll all come off exactly. So I'm just going to calibrate this. I'm actually going to just, instead of calibrating it, I'm actually going to put in the dimension that I know it is. So I'm just going to put in the preset and put that in at 1 to 100. And again, I can add this scale to more pages. So I can use this and actually apply that scale to all pages and apply. That's how simple it is. You'll see in the thumbnails now that each of these drawings have a 1 to 100 scale applied. If I do want to set a separate scale for this one, I can go again to my measurements in the panel here, and I can actually create a viewport and create a new viewport. It'll ask me for a region, put that over here, and I want that at 1 to 20. And okay. And now if I do a measurement, which I'll just do quickly just to show how that works. If I do a length, we can see that it's 2690. So if I do pick a point here, you can see it's snapping as well. And I can snap to there. And I'll get that 2.69 meters. And if I do a similar measurement in this area, again, I'll just choose something reasonably random. So I might just want to measure off the length of that eave. And you can see that that has actually gone with the distance. So it's 630. Again, I could change the units of that if I really wanted to. Again, I'm not really going into measurements today, but I could change that to millimeters and I'd get that 6.33. And I could change the precision to a 1. That would fix that as well. If I went to precision of 1 and apply, so I'll get that 633 millimeters. So that's what you want to do before you put it up into a session. So to load this into a session, I'm just going to go to Studio now. And again, this isn't really a demonstration of Studio, but I'm just going to show quickly. So you do get an option. At the moment, I'm logged in. I will just sign out quickly. So if I do sign in, you'll see that there are several different servers. In Revu 20, we now have an Australian server. So this is great for anything you've got that sort of government sensitive. There used to be a bit of a restriction where they only wanted their stuff not to be sent overseas. So now we've got an Australian server, so that solves that former issue. So I can sign in. Hopefully I'll remember my password. Look at that. Hopefully I remember my password. I knew I shouldn't have signed out. There we go. Fourth time lucky. I do have projects and there are sessions. So what I can do is create a new session. I'm just going to add one, create a new session, add the open file. The drawing hasn't been saved, so just save it. I'm just going to save it to my desktop and save and add that document, give it a name, maybe call it arc. And again, I'll just put delete at the back of this because I am only just using it to show it up. And again, it's created that session. I can invite people via emails. It's uploaded this document now into it. You can see I've still really got the old one open. So if I did shut this, you'll see now if I open that, it'll have a little whiteboard, which means it's a session. So it's actually live up there. Now, one of the great things about sessions as well is that people don't need Bluebeam to be able to participate fully in the session. So this is a great thing that people aren't aware of. If you're like the head contractor and you're sending this out to all your subcontractors, your flooring supplier, etc., they can participate fully. They can use the same markups, etc. They can use all the markups that you've used. They have full access to the session. And the only thing they can't do is create new sessions. So yeah, but it's a great feature and really giving you that confidence that whoever you send this to, they'll be able to download Bluebeam. They can use it as a trial version. And then even after that trial expires, they can use it in view mode and they can still access and participate fully in a session. So this is now on the cloud and people can be commenting back and it will track all in through here, who's commented back, who's completed it. I can even set my own status. So I can come in here that and put in here that I'm awaiting for input from someone, or I can put in that I'm finished or that I'm waiting, etc., or currently reviewing. You'll see how everything I do is constantly being tracked. If I go back to my tool chest and make another item with this. So I'm just going to say fix spelling. And though the spelling's all right, it's just gone to the next line. And I can't even use the right syntax on my spelling. So that, and it's all being tracked. If I go back to the studio, you'll see everything I do is being marked and it's constantly on the cloud. So it's all there and it's a great ability to have everyone just in there at once. So especially the big drawing set, you can come and go, answer questions, etc. I will export. So I did export that tool set before. So this is like a studio session. So it's a live PDF document that's there. You can invite people. You can set restrictions as well. So you can have the attendees and have them restricted by email access or have it a free for all. Projects is like just cloud storage. So sessions is just for PDFs and for that live collaboration. It is the only real-time live PDF collaboration solution out there in the industry at the moment. So it's one of the great features of Bluebeam Revu. Projects is cloud storage. So I do have this external resources here. And this is a tool set that I did create. So I've got a folder here for the tool set. Now I have invited you guys to it. There is a link in the chat. I can go to basically invite. I can, again, add emails from my address book, etc. What I did is I actually went to the 3 dots here and I've copied that project invitation and that's what I pasted into the chat. Again, I will put that into the chat now, just in case some people don't have access to that previous. So that's what I get just by doing that, copy the invitation and then pasting it in. I can go to my toolset and I can basically upload the file and select that file, or I can simply just drag and drop. So if I do go to my Explorer, go to my desktop and Bluebeam and find my BTX file, which is my toolset file. So you'll see there it's a Bluebeam review toolset. And I can simply drag and drop that into that folder. And that's now uploaded. And you all now have access to that standard markup. So that's how it's very quick and easy. You can save this onto a network and you can push that out to everyone's machine in a deployment, or they can import it, and you can even keep that live, and then everyone in your company has that same tool set. So it's a great way to use to sort of manage those tool sets. That's about all we had time for. I will just jump back to my PowerPoint again for a little bit of an outro. I think there were a couple of questions in the chat. I'll just have a quick look. Yep, so is it possible to default the system to have blank page labels when printing to Bluebeam from AutoCAD? So that blank page labels, it's possible to have blank page labels. I will always put a label in there. So like I said, whether it's like 1 or 2 or whatever on that actual document, it will put a page label in it, or it always needs some way to assign those pages. You can, like I said, set them automatically. There are in the CAD programs as well, when you output, you do get a choice as well, and you can change that in your Bluebeam settings to how you want the page labels to go in. I could probably take that offline if you give me a bit more information. But I think that sort of answers the question a little bit. The session is being recorded. Someone's asking about the session recording. It is being recorded, and I believe it will get sent out. So it will get emailed out to all attendees. If not, I do believe it's going to get emailed out to everyone. We do have a Cloud A2K YouTube channel, so please jump on that as well. It does have a lot of helpful blogs and more of these webinars, etc. Just as a bit of an outro as well, quite happy if anyone's got any further questions, please put them in, and I can even show stuff while I'm here. Just going through this, so we have a lot of solutions. We do discovery workshops where we can come into your company and go through what your current procedures are and how you can use Bluebeam to further improve. We have got rapid starts as well. We do rapid starts for companies where we go in and provide like a couple of hours training on how to use it and really make sure your team are using Bluebeam to its full efficiency. It's a massive program. There is a lot in it. I know I even just touched on Studio there, which some attendees probably didn't know about, but I could spend an hour talking about Studio. There's a lot in the package that's quite useful. Also offers standardization and that integration. So that's really what we're doing today, about like standardizing your markups and how that will allow you to save time reviewing and commentating and increase that efficiency with that standardization, so that people aren't there going, oh, what bit of text do I have to use or whatever. We do Blueburst, so I do like 2-hour training sessions. We can set them up for your company, or we do provide training where I do the 2-hour and come in and go through a couple of particular items. We can go through like a tool chest and how to set that up. Go through like measurements and markups, document control, 3D PDFs, document comparison as well. So we've got a lot of little training Bluebursts that we do, almost like little lunch and learns, which are great. We can provide manuals as well. So thanks for everyone for attending. If no one's got any questions, that's pretty much the end of the session. Thanks a lot. Hopefully you got something out of it, and feel free to reach out to myself or to your local Cloud A2K representative.